G'day viewers.
Alright, so I've just been to Autobarn. I've got my oil. I'm using this oil here. It's a Penrite 10W50. It's what I used last time, and I heard before I used it, I heard that was pretty good for this bike. Nice slick shifting, which it is. So I decided to go it again. Now it's bloody hot today, so I'm dying to get out of these leathers. So I'll heading over to AMX. I've got a voucher for AMX, so I'm heading over there to get an oil filter. They don't sell this oil, so I had to get it here at Autobarn. Great guys here at Autobarn, really helpful. Yeah, so heading over to AMX, and yeah, getting some chain cleaner, oil filter, and I've also got a problem here with my grip. I don't know if you can see that. Shouldn't be moving. So I'm going to see if they've got any more grip glue when I put these heated grips on. They came with glue, and I'm pretty sure I did as they said, but it's come loose, and I guess I'll have to get it off, clean it up and re-glue it. So I'll see if they've got some of that, and I'll catch you in the next one.
As you can see, I'm just servicing my CBR 1100 XX Super Blackbird. So I thought I'd just do a short video on what I'm going to do. So I've taken the seat off and lifted the tank. And I've made this piece of wood basically with a notch in it to hold the tank up so it doesn't come down. And there's two rubber grommets that go on here, so the tank doesn't rattle when it's actually in place, and they're actually here. Okay, so you have to be really careful when lifting the tank that they don't fall off while you're pulling the tank out, because if they fall in there, it's the XX Abyss down there, and you'll never get them out. Well, you will, but it'll take a while. You probably guess I've done it, so I know what I'm talking about. And it is painful when you're trying to get things done as well, and then you end up fixing your mistakes. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I've already dropped the oil out. I'm going to put in Penrite 10W50 semi-synthetic. Works well with the Blackbird, makes the shifting a little smoother than it would otherwise be. Also what I'm going to do, I've got a K&N filter, air filter in here. I've got a cleaning kit for it, I'll clean it. I've got a K&N oil filter as well, just got today, and that's the cleaning kit. And I also bought today, I spoke about it earlier, grip glue, and I bought this one here. The guy at the store recommended this one, because what's happened is with my heated grips, for some reason the left grip hasn't, or it's come loose. The glue, I used the glue that came with the kit, the heating grip kit, but obviously either haven't done it properly, or I don't know, it's just come loose somehow. But in a way it's actually not bad, because when I looked at it, the grips were like that. So hopefully you can see this, but I couldn't use my my high beam flasher because that was in the way, and I thought to myself, what the hell did I do? But as it turned out, I did do it right, because there's an arrow here that tells you which way to direct the grips, which is directly down like that, which clears that. Which in a way I'm glad, because then I can put it in the right position, still use that. Not that I use it often, but what I'm planning to do, there's a remote garage opener that you can wire to your bike and wire to this switch. So when you turn up to your garage, you flick it and your garage door opens, which is pretty cool, I think. I haven't got that yet, but eventually I will get it. Alright, so changing the oil filter, cleaning the air filter, fixing the grips, and general cleanup. I'll check the chain and adjust if necessary. This chain's pretty good, it's not that old either, so it might be alright, but I'll check that as well. And I want to mention this sump plug. Most of you will know this, but in case you don't, there's a copper gasket there. You've got to make sure that you don't lose that. Alright, sometimes you do have to replace it because it's eventually flattens out and goes out of shape and doesn't do its job. So I don't bother replacing it, because when I do a major service, I send it to the shop and they replace it when they do it, and that lasts until the next major service. And every time I do my filter and oil and whatever, it's still in good condition. So I just leave that for the shop to replace. Now, also with the tank, forgot to mention these bolts. They normally come with sleeves, right? So these are the sleeves. Okay, so those sleeves go into a rubber grommet in there. Bolt goes in and holds the tank down. So what I do is take the sleeve out, put the bolt back in, so when you've got the tank up like that, there's less chance of the tank actually falling off the bike. That would be a disaster if the tank fell off the bike. You'd rip the hoses out there, you'd dent the tank, it'd be a nightmare. So it's not to say it's not going to fall off, but it's just an extra precaution to help it stay on the bike. Also wanted to mention, I'm actually using the Prism tube not on the helmet, just by hand, so hopefully I'm pointing the camera in the right direction so you can see everything. We'll check the video out, I guess. If it's no good, I won't post it, but I guess if you're seeing this now, it's turned out alright. So do the oil filter with the fairings on. I normally take all these off to get to the filter. The filter's at the front here. I actually took all the bolts off this piece. Is separated to the main fairings, but I don't think it comes out, even though I've unclipped the whole thing and taken the bolts out, it actually doesn't come out. You've got to actually take at least one side of the main fairings off. But the filter sort of is about here, maybe a little bit further back, it's about there, which clears the bottom. You can actually get your hand underneath and grab hold of the filter. I'm not sure if I've got to have enough leverage to get it off, but I'm going to give it a go. Saves me taking all this off, which is just takes a bit longer. It's not hard, it just takes a bit longer. Also a good idea for draining oil, that's actually a 5 litre bottle. You just cut out the side of it like that. Make sure you leave a bit of a lip, right, so you don't spill the oil, and then use the empty bottle from last time, This bike takes 3.9 litres with a filter, so I've got 4 litres of oil. So what I do is when I dump the oil, I use the last little bit of the last bottle. So from the last service, this bottle had a little bit left in it because it only takes 3.9 or so, depending on the filter and how much oil. When you check it, you always check it bit by bit on your dipstick, because you don't want to overfill it. And so you've got to have a little bit of oil left in the container. So I use that little bit of oil to run it through to sort of flush it. Because this is a 5 litre bottle and that's a 4, you've got plenty of room in that to do that. And then you just dump that into there, which now that's old oil, that's the new one, and then you can just get rid of it. Recycle it, obviously. Take it to where they will take motor oil. Just some of the tips take them. I've got a local one that takes it for free, which is good. So yeah, so that's just a good idea if you're thinking about how to dump the oil, where to put it. Also, having some sort of tray for the bottom. This is actually a side panel window cover from a older Conovan that I used to have. I actually put a window in it and took that out of it, and I've had that since. I've had that for years, and I use it for the cars as well when I do the cars, and that's just handy if you drop oil or to hold your tools, as you can see. Also magnetic little tray for all your bits and pieces so you don't lose them. It actually sticks to that white tray as well. So a couple of ideas if you're thinking of how to do the job. Okay, so that worked. At least I don't have to take the fairings off now. I know. That's the tool I use to take off the. I've got a couple of different ones. I've got this one as well, but I don't think that that doesn't close up enough to fit around the filter. That's a good one though, because you've got a few different angles. If you've got a bigger filter, that'll work. Otherwise, it'll work for a car. That is, I've had this for years as well, and it's a bit twisted and bent, but it works. I've actually closed that up. I've actually bent that down a little bit to make it smaller, and it works a treat. It's a little bit bent though, but it still works. Also depends how tight the filter has been put on. I know when I take it for a service at the shop, they put the filter on too tight and it's really hard to get off. But when I do it, I don't do it as tight. So it's much easier to get off. Now I like using the K&N filters. I've got an OEM filter in there at the moment because I got given it when I bought the cans. There was the Scorpion cans. There was a filter that came with it. But I like this one. I've heard horror stories about these, but I've never had a problem. You can just unscrew it with a spanner, which is very handy. Not sure if you can actually fit a spanner in there with the fairings on. That might be a different story. But yeah, something to check when we do that next. So K&N filters have that. Now the horror stories are that these rip off when you try and use it, and yeah, not real good if that happens, I guess. But like I said, I've never had a problem. And I guess, you know, if they're not on too tight, which you're not supposed to put them on tight, you're supposed to once the seal touches the sump, the engine block, you're supposed to just do 3/4 of a turn, and that's it. I think, you know, obviously check if it's leaking or anything. That's leaking there because I've actually cracked the I've cracked the filter. I'm just unscrewing it off now. So you just crack it and let it all drain out. There's a bit more draining out. So it's a good idea to do it after you've actually drained the container. Not that there's going to be a lot in the filter, but with your hands in there you might knock the container and just oil goes everywhere and it just makes a bit of a mess. Alright, so that's the old filter. And that's where this tray comes in handy too. Because if you do knock anything and spill it and whatever, you're actually spilling it on the container and not on the floor. So that's the old OEM filter. You can see the marks where I've tried to unscrew it off with the tool. So you can see there's not much oil that's come out. That's only what's left in the filter after draining everything. So it's not too bad. Something I did mention with this container as well. When you drain it into the other container, you actually use the lid. So you just, because you're only taking 4 litres out of the bike, you're going to have enough room in here. So what you do, you tilt it back like that, take the cap off, and then slowly tilt it into the funnel into the old container. And also with the new one, which I'm about to put on, before you actually put it on, smear a bit of oil on the new seal, and then it screws on a lot easier. And when it touches, as I said before, when it touches, it's about 3/4 of a turn, no more. Otherwise it'll be on too tight. Okay, so I'll put this down here ready to go. Just dripping a bit of oil there. So as you see, I've still got to clean it and put the filter on. So there's still going to be a little bit of oil draining out. Okay, so that worked with the filter. I'm going to see if I can get the camera in there so you can see. See in there, a little bit fiddly to try and get in there with the spanner, but doable, better than taking all the fairings off. You can see there everything's clean. You'll see a little bit on the pipes there, so when you turn on the bike after your service, you will get a bit of like burning oil smell, which will just be in a bit, maybe a little bit of smoke, but only be what's on your pipes. Once that burns off, it's gone. So just make sure you wipe most of that off. So you can see the filter there, hopefully. I haven't got my head in there, got the torch, so hopefully you can see that. And quite handy with the nut on top of the filter. So the nut takes, I use a ring spanner to take the sump plug off, which is a 17mm, and the nut that's on the filter is also 17mm, so I use the a ratchet spanner. So you can get it, once you get that in there, you can just spin it and tighten it up as much as you need.